This a story of culture, where women are infibulated and displayed for marriage, regardless of the suitor's age. Refusing to accept him, would make the person mad. In giant communication, people kill their twins' babies either alive or otherwise as instructed. They pass through infibulation and being circumcised in a very tender age. The king of the land can't be seen by anyone, except by the eunuch, the chief elder, who the king makes rule and conveys to. It's believed that the wood would die if to be seen. The only way to settle dispute that would please the gods is through killing or war. Women get scared of delivering. Some men calls a trusted nurse that would help their wife deliver, who would keep secrets, when it turns out to be twins. Oma gave birth to twins. The eunuch heard it and sent some men to kill the babies. Cynthia couldn't believe it. She struggled for them or to take her babies, but the men killed the twins immediately. Young girls and ladies were crying because of ceremony that will be coming up soon, which is too harmful and harsh to female. They were crying and couldn't speak for themselves, against the customs of the land that requires them to display themselves on the day of Eli, in front of the men, for them to choose who would be their wife. Refusing this would amount to being buried alive. Cynthia, a 14-year-old girl who was eager for the ceremony, was stopped by her parents not to attend it. She refused since the king ordered every maiden who is above the age of 13 to be present. Don't worry about that, my daughter. We shall accept the punishment whatsoever from the king, to lie that you weren't aware, so that your life could be spared, her mother said. Cynthia left for the ceremony for her parents not to be punished. Cynthia danced and had fun with her parents while the ceremony was going on. Edmund declared interest on Cynthia that she is the one he wants to marry. Cynthia couldn't believe her eyes as how her own best friend's father declares interest in marrying her. She left regretting her choice of coming. She decided to take her life, as she couldn't take it anymore. Cynthia stood at the backyard, and consoling herself on what she's about to do. She reminisced how she had fun always, around the tree, that's about to take her life. Glory, her mother, knelt and was pleading for her not to take her life, that they would be ostracized from the kingdom or even killed if she took her life. The ceremony is a form of merriment for the men, since they could get to marry any kind of women they want, regardless of their age. Cynthia swore to make Edmund's life a living nightmare. She tore clothes so that her beauty could fade out. Few hours later, Cynthia felt blood dropping beneath her and it was excruciating for her to bear it. She asked her mother. Her mother said it was as a result of the infibulation, that stitches of the label to prevent intercourse. My daughter, endure the pain for a little while, as our custom demands. Soon you would move to your husband's house. Before you marry Edmund, you must be circumcised, after which you would be reinfibulated, Glory said. Always be strong, because if you die in the process, your body would be thrown inside the evil forest and won't be buried. But Dad, I can't do this. I passed through same process when I was 13, so you can do it, my daughter, Glory said. Glory infibulated her after the circumcision. Remember to always open up to your husband, anytime he needs it, or you will run mad. She left her parents' house to Edmund's house. So, Cynthia, upon all the men you choose to settle with my father, Cynthia's best friend, Z said. As Edmund tried to touch Cynthia at night, she left immediately. As she was running, it seemed as if she's going weird. The next morning, Glory paid some young men of the community to drag Cynthia home, as she knew what was going on, as Cynthia was going mad. She called the oracle orator to heal her daughter, so that the elders of the land wouldn't learn about what happened, because it might cause a great scandal. After Cynthia recovered fully, she refused to return back to her husband's house. Glory pleaded for her to stay with her husband, because Glory and her husband won't accept her in their house, as the tradition requires, only if Cynthia's husband consents. Cynthia, after much talk, agreed to return to her husband's house. The oracle orator blessed her home. Glory cooked, they all ate. Edmund was happy in seeing Cynthia and promised to do anything for her, to make her happy. That night they both consummated. A month after Cynthia realized that she's pregnant, she received a very shocking news that her friend is dead, as she was in labor as a result of the infibulation. Glory consoled Cynthia about the news of what happened to her friend. seeing fear on Cynthia's face, she consoled her more, for her not worry, that she would deliver peacefully. Surprised that Edmund doesn't care about his child's death, Cynthia said on her mind. Since your husband loves you, why not be enrolled in a school, Glory's friend advising Cynthia. She visited the place, liked what she saw and planned on telling her husband. At night she had a very terrible dream where she's being pursued by a young lady. The lady flogged her mercilessly. When she woke up she saw the bruises on her body. Where are my twin babies? Edmund asked. Glory couldn't explain to him where they are. Glory, out of fear, ran out to meet with the thugs she paid to kill one of the twins. My husband, what do you think I should do now that the thugs has killed the baby? I don't even know how to explain it to my in-law. What would he think of me? Glory panting. Peter told her not to worry herself, that she should go ahead to explain to Ina why she did that. The next morning Glory rushed to Edmund's house, explained to him why she did what she did. I think we can still hide the secret since no one knows what happened, Glory muttered. Well, I have forgiven you. The truth is that, I was about to kill the two babies as I'm one of the elders in this kingdom, which demands me to keep and abide by our law. But no one would find out about it. No, Glory, Didi is aware, and I'm certain he must have told the people about it by now. So what do you think would happen? Glory asked. It's either they kill the baby or Chioma kills her child by herself in front of everyone, for giving birth to it. Glory suggested that Cynthia should leave the community, so that she wouldn't have to kill her own daughter. As they were discussing, a large crowd stepped into Edmund's compound, ordering Edmund to bring out his wife wherever she's hiding. They took the baby away from her. She was excommunicated from the land for 6 months, since she allowed her twin child to stay alive for some days. Cynthia traveled far from the land to an island. She wept daily as she couldn't do anything to save her child. After staying outside the community's boundaries, Cynthia returned home, surprised to see another woman in her husband's house, being pregnant. She left and went to Dr. Sampson, who has been urging children, men and women to acquire the Western education and religion. Dr. Apathy, who agreed to teach her all she needed to know and be civilized, took advantage of her. She gave herself to him, ready to take any drastic decisions for her happiness. The community heard of how Dr. Apathy has been molesting their children and wives. They never wanted to pursue Samson, but if they don't, Dr. Apathy will still make his way back to the community. They had to chase all the Westerners out of their community, to avoid corruption. Initially, Dr. Apathy was supposed to be killed, since he couldn't understand their language. They planned it in front of him. Cynthia was able to save him. She revealed what the people were planning against him. She had this great hate for everyone in the community. Dr. Apathy handed over a book to her, warning her to make she read the instructions in the book very well, before left for the community very late at night. Soon after the Westerners left, the community kept on experiencing some unusual things in the community, always occurring at night. There's always a wolf yelp at night. People were wondering how the wolf found its way to their kingdom. On the second day, they also heard the scream. Everyone stayed on their lane, pretending not to have heard anything and without thinking how to find solution to such mystery. The next day, there was a full moon. The people were rejoicing as the king had supplied their well with water. Parents sent their children to fetch water from those well. It felt the presence of someone coming, a person it has been waiting for. It turned their back to the person. It felt the presence of someone coming, a person it has been waiting for. It turned their back to the person. Chief Eunuch was scared to see a person standing behind him, in his resting place. The person asked him whom the king is, and where he is, because nobody knows the king's identity. The chief eunuch couldn't answer. The person transformed into a wolf. He swore on his blood that he can't review the king's identify to the wolf. Angrily the wolf killed him. He was able to get to his house with the wound to review to his people whom the person is. The king was devastated to hear that his right-hand man is dead. He sent his guys to find out what killed him. People gathered around the eunuch's house crying, weeping and demanding to know who killed him, so that they can avenge his death. The eunuch's children were afraid to speak. They told the crowd that the eunuch couldn't tell them anything before he died. The king couldn't believe it and the people either. I know my man, he would do everything possible to reveal the truth to someone before he died, even if it means for him to defeat death he would do it, the king muttered. The king ordered Ben back to the eunuch's children, ordering that they should speak the truth or else they would pay the consequences. He also assured them that it will be safe by him. After reviewing it to the king, he ordered to see his people immediately through Ben, that he had found whom the mysterious killer is. Ben announced to the people that their biggest enemy is close by, that they should all be alert. He said that they couldn't tell whom exactly it is, but all they know is that the wolf is a magician and a human/woman. The chief eunuch's daughter went to king's chamber to plead for him stop, because he will be risking their lives. My father told me something important before he died. I rebuke such, not when I'm still alive. The queen pursued the eunuch's daughter out of their palace. That night, the wolf came inside the king's chamber, and killed all the people he saw there, without being sure who it was, that is the king, including the king's wife. The king was able to flee from the palace to another place since no one knew him in person, before the incident happened. He wept as his wife and children are no more. Ben was happy to let the people know that the king is alive. He cautioned them to keep it a secret, so the witch wolf wouldn't find out. He sent some few men to go in search of the eunuch's daughter. Unknown to the people, the witch was right there with them, listening to everything going on, was normally in a human form. The king was happy to see her. He hugged her in tears. That night, the wolf came inside the king's chamber, and killed all the people he saw there, without being sure who it was, that is the king, including the king's wife. When Sarah was forced to visit the king was happy to see her. He hugged her in tears to have lost everything he once had. Sarah couldn't control it but to cry as well. The king pleaded to Sarah for her to leave his hiding place, because she wouldn't be safe in their community. He told Sarah that he feared that the witch is everywhere. You can only return to me once every New Year festival, if only I would be alive by then. As the king was forcing Sarah to leave, the king's two guards who found Sarah, told them martyr the witch when the king is hiding, as the witch was coming in, as the king was urging Sarah to leave. The witch came inside the king's hiding place. The king planned on confusing her so that the eunuch's daughter could leave the palace safely without being killed. The witch showed her real face to the king, telling the king how they made her suffer in the land for an unwilled act of hers. The king couldn't believe that such a thing was going on his palace without his consent. The witch came inside the king's hiding place. The king planned on confusing her so that the eunuch's daughter could leave the palace safely without being killed. The witch showed her real face to the king, telling the king how they made her suffer in the land for an unwilled act of hers. The king couldn't believe that such a thing was going on his palace without his consent. The witch couldn't believe the king. She promised him that she would wipe out all his descendants before killing others. She left to kill the eunuch's daughter. The king, infuriated, tried to stop her but couldn't. The king cried as he has lost all his family and wouldn't want to lose Sarah, who might be carrying his last and only child. The king promised himself to stop all forms of evil going on in the kingdom. He remembered all the good times with his family. He couldn't control it, but to weep. The king sent for his right-hand man, Ben. I'm ready to give my life to see that this witch gets the justice she needs, even if she's planning to kill me as well, the king said to himself. The witch searched for Sarah to kill her. The king ordered that there should host a gathering of the people in which he would appear to address them. Some people working for the witch delivered the message to her that her presence is needed. The king is planning to ask you for forgiveness, they said. The king knew that he wouldn't make it alive. He told his advisor to flee from the palace, because he is the only one he trusts, and that he is the only one to fight the battle even when he is no more. The people, scared of coming out, waiting for each and another to come out first, scared that the witch might hurt them. As the moon brightened, they all came out gathered, waiting for the king to show up. Immediately the king stepped foot, a heavy breeze blew in form of a hurricane, all lights went off. I'm the king said. People rejoiced and began to hug the person from the sound of his voice. The king told his people that he wouldn't allow anyone to rule his people on his behalf. He told them that their land has done a lot of evil, which he didn't know about, but that he is here to ask for forgiveness and render those beliefs null. As he was talking, someone roared and devoured a person. The people weren't sure whom it was, since it was dark. The king told his people that he wouldn't allow anyone to rule his people on his behalf. He told them that their land has done a lot of evil, which he didn't know about, but that he is here to ask for forgiveness and render those beliefs null. As he was talking, someone roared and devoured a person. The people weren't sure whom it was, since it was dark. The people were staring at the person dead, they were feeling for the person. The elders shouted, "Aru, abomination that the king is dead." Everyone in the community were all weeping, the first time seeing the king and he is dead, Alphonsus said. "We must do something about this," Alphonsus shouted. Alphonsus declared war on the witch. He advised that some men should be sent to get a chief priest who would help them out to fight the witch. Ben assured the people that things will be normal again, that the chief priest whom would come will free them from the devil incarnate in their land. The men visited the chief priest, telling them why they came, seeking his assistance and presence in their land. The chief priest followed them to their land. After the men paid the chief priest, he died as he stepped foot on the land. The people that came with him ran away. Oma called and told Ben and some elders that bringing in another chief priest in the land will only worsen the whole problem, because many of them aren't pure in heart and soul. The men of the land gathered to fetch for the chief priest, which Oma directed them to find, that is far away the land. The land has done so much evil, it needs to be purified. You all has killed a lot of mothers and children, may those who did this not see any good in their life, Oma said. Infuriated by this, the elders questioned her, stating that their tradition stands regardless of what's happening. Oma shouted and angrily cursed them. Angry with what happened, the people demanded her to be killed, but the elders had to beat and put her in prison to die there, since they have gotten the solution they needed. "Who are you, to call yourself my daughter?" the witch said angrily. "Why did you allow the world to change you? I'm your daughter, Grand, didn't kill one of your twins, she gave me to the king, so that I won't be killed. You killed the mighty man, who stood for peace. Yes, many calamity happened in the land, but he wasn't aware it was going on. I didn't grow up with this powers and visions, the king immediately he died came to me, which made me this powerful. Forgive me my daughter, I can't believe that one of my own is alive, I was scared that I'm alone which led me to becoming a demon." The little shaman stopped her from killing herself. "Before the land can be in peace, you must declare your identity openly, ask the people for forgiveness. So that me your daughter can be at peace forever." Cynthia left the kingdom in shame, after making people know that she's the witch, and she was never to be seen again. Sarah, who's now the monarch, adopted Oma as her child and a kingdom shaman. The kingdom became peaceful again, and women aren't seen as less again. The end.